Hey guys, so we are doing a recorded video today, and the picture that we're going to be doing is the sloth from our greeting card video yesterday, the one that we didn't get to. So I'm going to go ahead and put that up for art today. So stay tuned. He is super cute. I'm looking forward to drawing him, and I hope you guys have fun too. And then tomorrow we will be back at it with a live video. So have fun. So the first thing we're gonna go ahead and draw is actually his branch. He kind of has a curved branch he's hanging out on. And I'm gonna go ahead and change it up a little bit. Draw some leaves, looks like some eucalyptus. And then after we draw his branch, we're gonna go ahead and draw his arms coming around. So we're gonna do his first arm. And it kind of goes from thin to much wider on the bottom. We're gonna draw his back leg that's hanging out about here. Again, thin to pretty thick on the bottom. And then we're gonna go ahead and draw his other back leg that's coming up behind. And we're gonna have his little hand showing up on the other side. And then his last arm coming down right here. And thin to much wider. Then we're gonna go ahead and draw his belly. And he's kind of hanging pretty low. He is very upside down. I don't know about you, but I just think sloths are so adorable. And we're gonna kind of draw his face here. And his little ears. They're kind of starting inside part of his head and then coming out a little bit. Last, he has a few little hairs coming out at the top of his head. And then we're gonna draw his face. So he has two patches coming on either side of his face here. Kind of cutting into that circle that we drew. And we droop a little bit. And then we have one eyeball, two eyeballs. Then we have his cute little nose. And then I'm gonna go ahead and extend the bottom of his face a little bit. I'm gonna draw his mouth first, just so I know how much room to give myself. And I'm gonna go ahead and just make that bottom of his face a little bit bigger. I'm gonna follow it up as well, make sure that this is all even, like so. You can even make his face a little bit wider. All right, now is the time to kind of add more definition to him. So he does on his arms have a little bit of hair marks. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of draw those in a little bit, just so when I paint, I remind myself to add those little hair strokes. And then we're gonna add his claws. So again, his fingers come up like so. And he has these very skinny, almost finger-like claws. And they have, well, this particular one is a three-toed sloth. He has 3 little claws or toes. And then his toes are coming this way as well. And then we don't see these back ones because he's kind of wrapped around the tree. All right, let's get started. So first I'm gonna go ahead and grab my light green and color in these eucalyptus leaves up here. Now, eucalyptus leaves are more of a sagey green. So I'm gonna and they're kind of almost blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and color the outside of some of these leaves, kind of this sagey green. And then I'm gonna color in a few of them completely sage green. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take my dark green. That's kind of almost a blue green. And I'm gonna go ahead and go around some of the other edges of these leaves. I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little all green leaf right here. Again, just kind of going through. I'm gonna add another all green leaf right here. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my sage green leaf right here and make a little bit of a dark green. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with the lightest green that I have. And I'm gonna go ahead and go in with a very blue-green. Let's see how this one looks. This might be a little too similar to my bright green. I'm gonna go ahead and instead just go in with my regular bright green. And just color in the rest of these leaves. If you only have one type of green, go ahead and just color all of your leaves that green. You do not have to do this step. Next, I'm going to take my brown. I'm going to go ahead and trace these little twigs of eucalyptus coming off. And I'm going to come through up through the top. just a little bit. I'm also gonna add some little twigs coming off of these. And I'm gonna go ahead and trace my branch. Watching out for my sloth feet. And you can kind of change the shape of the branch if you want, make it thinner or thicker in some areas. And then I'm going to be using a combination of colors on this as well, because eucalyptus trees are kind of gray and brown. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some brown and some key spots, kind of add some brown polka dots. They're almost like dappled trees. Dappled means like spotted. And I'll add a little bit of shadow in some areas. Especially like underneath where it's not getting a lot of light. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my gray. And I'm just gonna color all of those spots that I didn't. Again, watching out for my sloth feet, going around those dapples. And if I go over my sloth toes, that's okay because they're going to be darker anyways. So don't worry too much about those. Making sure I'm just getting all of those white spots. Next, we're gonna go to our sloth, and he is a light brown. So I'm gonna go ahead and dip into my watercolors here. I'm gonna go for, I have a very like sienna brown. I'm gonna add, a lot of water to this. And I'm actually gonna just make sure I don't get the round part of his face, but I'm gonna go over everything else because I can cover my darker brown areas later and it won't matter, but his face is much lighter, so I don't want to get this brown in there. I'm also gonna get it in his little hairs up here. I'm gonna go ahead and just go around his ears because I can get those dark brown later. And then if you want to make like little hair strokes, you can. Make them look a little bit fuzzier. And I'm gonna go over his toes because I'm just gonna be coloring those in anyways. Adding a little bit more water. without going over his toes. I'm gonna go ahead and dip back in that brown. I'm gonna go around his edges and I'm just gonna make some little hair strokes on him. Going back around his arms, doing the same thing. I'm not too worried about having different intensities of brown on him. I kind of want his legs to be a little bit darker than the rest of his body. Again, I'm just making those little paint strokes. Making him look fuzzy. I'll go around his hair again, make his hair a little bit darker. I'm just trying to add a lot of texture to him. And this is kind of where you can have fun and add more hair or less hair. Depends on how you want your sloth to look. And then I'm kind of just dragging that brown into him, making his belly a little bit darker. I go over his foot that's kind of hanging on this branch here. Same thing with the other ones. All right, and I'm pretty happy with how fuzzy my little sloth is. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop right there. And he's nice and colored in. I'm gonna go ahead and dip into my yellow. And I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow on his chest area. Just to make him more of a golden brown. I'm gonna go ahead and go up around his face as well, his head. All right, then next, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my dark brown. And I'm gonna be using my watercolors again for this. And I'm gonna go ahead and just color in his eyes here. And I'm gonna go ahead and color all around. I'm gonna leave his eyes completely white for now, because I do wanna add a highlight later and I don't wanna cover that in brown. So I'm just bringing that completely down to the sides of his face. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just tracing around his eye and bringing it down. I'm gonna go a little bit higher. Like so. All right, next I'm gonna go ahead and take that same brown And I'm gonna add shadow. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow here, and you can do this with your markers or crayons. Just color over your light brown really lightly. Right here by his arm. And then you're also gonna color on this back leg right here. Right by his belly. You kind of want to blend it up into your other color. And then we're gonna go ahead and give him a little bit of dark brown on his bottom right here. I'm just gonna kind of make some hairline marks, like so. All right, then I noticed that I kind of want to bring this brown down just a little bit more into his face. So I'm gonna go ahead and make this a little bit longer as I'm looking at him. And then I kind of want to do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna make it a little bit longer, and I'm gonna add some like brown hair strokes over here. Awesome. All right, now he has a little bit of brown dappling on his tummy. So we're gonna go ahead and just give him a little bit of brown hair strokes. He also has some along his back. Just kind of take your marker or crayon and make little dots on him if you're working with that. You can also make a little bit underneath his face here. Just make some little brown strokes. Use a light hand. You can always go darker, but if you go really hard in with your marker or crayon or paints, it's a lot harder to get rid of. So if you do it really light, then you're less likely to make a mistake, and you can always go darker if you need it. I'm gonna take that dark brown, and I'm gonna go over just the tops of his hands. And I'm gonna go right underneath this branch where his hand is as well. Like so. All right, then the last thing that's dark brown are his little ears. So I'm gonna go ahead and color those in. And they kind of stop halfway in his hair, like they're almost covered by the rest of his hair. He's turning out super cute, guys. All right, next, we want to go ahead and do his little black nose. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my watercolor marker that's black. And I'm gonna go ahead and leave the tiniest little highlight on his nose by not coloring it in. I'm gonna go ahead and trace his little smile. I'm gonna make mine just a little bit wider than I originally drew. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on his eyes. I'm gonna make a highlight about right here and right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw those out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and color around them. And then just kind of round those eyes out. Like so. And then I'm actually, shocker, I'm not going to outline my sloth today. So the only thing I'm gonna use to outline him is I'm gonna go back in with my paint, water paintbrush. I'm gonna dip into my dark brown, that same dark brown that we used for shading. And I'm just gonna kind of go around his edges to kind of add some dimension, like where his tummy ends. So again, just taking that light brown, and I'm going to go under his tummy, like so. And I'm gonna kind of add a little bit more water to my brush and kind of like drag that in a little bit. And I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of brown where his arms start on his body. So you can kind of see the definition of that. And then I'm gonna squeeze some water out and clean my brush off a little bit so I can smear this even better. So I'm have just water on my brush, no paint. And I'm just gonna smear that dark brown in so it's not such a harsh line. And drag it into his belly. And again, do the same thing up here. Like so. And I'm gonna kind of make that leg a little bit less harsh as well. I'm gonna go back in with my brown. Again, just gonna add a little bit more brown to the outside, just so you can really see that definition, since I'm not gonna go over with my black. I do the same thing with his face. Just a little bit more brown around the edges. And then I'm gonna actually outline his face circle with my brown as well. So I'm going in really lightly. I'm just outlining his little face. I'm actually gonna go into the yellow a little bit and drag that out just to make it a little bit softer. There you go. And then if you like, he does kind of have a peach face, so you can color his face in peach. I'm gonna leave mine white, I think, but I do wanna add his cute little, he kind of has little rosy cheeks. So I'm gonna just barely dip into my red here and add a lot of water. And I'm just gonna lightly touch his cheeks here with red. And make his little rosy cheeks. So this is mostly water and just the tiniest bit of red. All right, and then I'm just gonna quickly look over. I am gonna draw his little claws in, but I think I will draw those with my black marker. Just to kind of trace over them. So remember, he just has 3 toes on each foot. So you're just gonna lightly trace those toes. And then you don't see that one. You can make them a little bit longer if need be. You kind of just want to make them look like they're gripping that branch. I'm going to go ahead and take my brown marker and just kind of go over where those toes are. Like so. And then it has a cute little saying on the bottom. It says, hang in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and scoop my paper up. And I'm just gonna write, hang in there. So I think I'll write it towards the bottom. And this writing kind of has like a swooping quality, I think, because since the sloth is literally hanging, it kind of, the lettering itself kind of reminds me of that hanging sloth. So you want it really kind of loopy and slanted. And that, my friends, is our adorable little sloth. Now, this one's super cute. I think I will just put a tiny little signature next to him. And that, my friends, is our sloth. I can't wait to see your guys' sloth. I hope you had fun drawing him today. I know I did. He turned out super cute and fun and very whimsical. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.